alongside Ben Friedman, Frank Vanderwall, and Adam Yurchick. How you guys doing?
We're doing all right.
Doing great.
Doing great.
Now this was a team I was looking at when I was going through the roster for my preview article. I immediately saw Ben and Adam on a team, and I had to ask Ben who Frank was, and he said, "You should know who this guy is. He's a Modern expert."
Yeah, Frank's been playing a ton of Modern on Magic Online. He basically broke Eldrazi Tron out on Moto, and he'll tell you more about his experience. We couldn't do it without him.
All right, so we'll ask how you formed the team, and then we can go into the specifics on each format and what you guys are doing and how you've broken Modern time after time.
I don't know about that. Sure. Well, I met Ben at GP Indy, actually. He crushed me in a Bant Eldrazi mirror. We were discussing the deck and kind of got to know each other a little bit. And then,
so Adam and I are coaches in this Facebook group called Magic Mastermind, which is really cool. We do 3 times a week Skype calls, and it's coaching. It's like a supercharged version of SCG Premium where you can really interact with the people rather than just reading a static article. It's for some, not for all, obviously, but I enjoy working there. Adam does. Frank joined the group, and then when we saw the new SCG Tour schedule, we were looking and, what is this team constructed thing in Baltimore? This sounds sweet. I mean, hell, I love team events. and Frank messaged me. He was like, "Yo, we should get together a team mastermind." And I said, "Yeah, that's a good idea. Sure, why not? Let's call up, who lives nearby." Adam lives close enough within driving range. So we talked to Adam, and he said, "Yeah, sure. I'm always down." And drove down from Cleveland, and here we are.
Mm-hmm. So you're the standard player, Adam.
Yeah.
We know you from some GP success back in the day. Recently, the GP Miami with the green, white, all that.
Uh-huh.
Now you're playing the energy deck that I guess you and Ben worked on?
Yeah, Ben more than myself. Actually, you worked on it with your Pro Tour testing team,
Yep.
like Pascal Maynard, East West Bowl.
That's
is
right.
Behind it. Basically, it's the green-black energy deck that kind of broke out at the Pro Tour. Ken Yukihiro and a couple people played it to 9-1 and high records.
Yeah.
And then we wanted to figure out how to break the mirror. Ben came up with Harness Lightning, which instant speed, it kills just about everything. He calls it Terminate. So with the tune to Aether, Servant of Conduit, Aether Hub, we support these Harness Lightning, so we have tons of removal, and otherwise it's pretty much the green-black.
And 3 main deck Gonti.
Yeah, three Gonti, so some card advantage to help us play that removal game with 4 Fatal Push, 4 Harness Lightning in the deck.
So when you saw the event come up and you kind of formulated who you wanted on your team, did you have an idea of what formats you wanted playing, each deck?
Well,
each person on each deck?
Well, Frank was the one who came to me first, and he said, "We should make this happen." And I immediately thought, okay, cool, I dig it, I can host people. And I knew that Frank had basically no experience with Legacy. He's played around with it, but he's not going to be our Legacy player. I obviously like Legacy quite a bit, and so it was just going to be a question of who was going to fill in the gaps. It seemed pretty clear that I was going to be the Legacy player from the start, and Adam, plays a ton of Standard locally, so he obviously had the opportunity to do that. And we talked a little bit. We may or may not have been waffling back and forth last night at 1 a.m. about exactly what decks we were going to play, but I mean, I trust him 100% to play the deck very well.
Okay. So you ended up on a Grixis Delver deck, or a 4-color-ish Delver
3.5 colors of Delver, Gurmag Angler goodness. Yeah.
Now we got to talk to Frank here. Flew out here from Wisconsin, to play with these guys, and you've been playing a bunch of Modern. How'd you come on the deck, and what drew you to this event?
Yeah, well, first of all, the event's sweet. I mean, just getting to play all 3 formats on a team was something I thought was great, really wanted to try and do, so hooked up with these guys to do it. But as far as Modern goes, I've been a Bant Eldrazi player since basically it was a deck. Had a ton of success with it, and then my buddy made me try Eldrazi Tron at SCG Regionals, and I top 8'd with it and beat basically everything except for Affinity. And it was like, I'm not losing to Affinity every time I play against it. We need to do something about this.
Sure.
So I was like, Walking Ballista seems good. 4 of them in the main deck. then I started play. I sent a message to you and Adam. You guys were like, if you want to try it, sure. Like it's maybe it'll be good. Yeah. And then it was so good that I decided just to put 2 basilisk collars in the main deck. So we were just shooting people down. We were calling Walking Ballista Tommy, like a Tommy gun. I played that for a while, did really well with it, and then everyone started playing it. And then people started to learn how it worked and didn't tap out and like flood the board with creatures so that you could untap and Ballista wipe their board. And I was like, a lot of people are playing this. It seems like a hot, flavor of the week. People are going to play to beat it. What beats it, and what do I think is really well positioned? And I was like, I think Black-Green Tron might actually just be really good. I've never played Tron. Never really liked Tron, but I thought it was really well positioned, and I thought the deck was just very solid. I played enough Modern that I just kind of picked it up, tested. Ben and I, sat in our PJs for 12 hours and played Moto on
yesterday
on Friday and figured it out. So playing it, it's crushing it today. So I'm happy with the choice.
And you guys are 5-1 so far. Your only losses to the Start Party NAS team.
That team is tough. No shame in losing to one of the best teams in the room, but we'll be back for a rematch.
Okay. So talk about the event as a whole. I know you had made a Facebook post a few days back, like, we need more of this type of event.
Yeah, I mean, what is there to say that isn't completely obvious? This is an event that I have been excited about, just theorizing, just imagining that this would be a cool event for years. Ever since there was a World Championships event or like a World Magic Cup style event where they had this, where it was, one person for each format, and I thought that would be so sick. And on car rides, we would talk about, we should have, like Team Maryland versus Team New York, and like, I should get together with Alex Magilton and Seth Manfield, the Maryland crew, and try and do battle against, like a Floridian crew, anything like that, where you switch it off. You do team constructed, and then a team draft, and just the team factor is so thrilling and so exciting. There's almost no better feeling in Magic than when you're in that group huddle and it's the last turns of like the third game of the third match, and you're just like, all right, we gotta play absolutely flawlessly. And I mean, the suspense is just unbelievable compared to real Magic, or regular one-on-one Magic, because you have all your friends there with you and everyone's consulting, and it's a high energy spectacle compared to regular Magic, which can be a little bit staid and slow paced a lot of the time. So I don't know, I mean, I was thrilled to see this event happen. I would be really upset if they didn't continue it. I'm sure they will, because the event capped. A bunch of people didn't get to play in it who really, really wanted to. People were traveling from everywhere. I mean, not that many people travel huge distances for SCGs. A few of the, perpetual grinders and pro players, people on teams do. But you had people flying in, like Steve Mann and company flew here from Florida. They don't fly to SCG events, but they did. I saw people from, I mean, the NAS party team, Ben Stark, they all flew in from like Colorado and Florida. That's absurd. Clearly, this is something that people really, really, really want to play. And I think the fact that you can get your specialist in each format, it's just, this is something that is 10 years overdue.
What do you guys echo his feelings?
Yeah, it's been great. The highs feel really high. When you win, we're just stoked. The losses hurt 3 times as much. And like on Twitter, there's Hall of Famers saying, I wish I would have planned to come to this tournament. People are changing their schedules, spending hundreds of dollars just to come to play this because it's so fun.
It's been nice.
So
plus you can lose and still get carried by your teammates, which is the best feeling in the world. Adam knows that, I know that. Frank's been doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
All right, as expected. All right, well, thanks for joining me here on the Sideboard, guys. You're off to a great start. Midway through day 1, you're 5-1. Hope to see you in day 2.
Thanks, Nick.
For Ben, Frank, Adam, and Nick here on the Sideboard, stay tuned to StarCityGames.com all week long for the action here in Baltimore.